Hey guys, welcome to the Ugly Podcast with Alicia and Jordan Prince. We have been talking about this podcast for about, 8 months now?
Yeah, it's been a while for
Yeah,
sure.
we've been talking about this podcast for a while, but with all great things take time. Jordan and I have very busy schedules as is, so getting this podcast started, we definitely took our time, did our research, and got our equipment. So we're super
hmm
excited to get started and get talking. I kind of wanted to dive in a little bit about why we started the podcast, and then I'm going to let Jordan explain the meaning behind the name, The Ugly.
Because I came up with it.
Jordan did come up with it. We brainstormed a lot, and Jordan's name was the winner. He definitely killed it on this.
For sure.
So The Ugly had been created, like we said, it honestly had been created like 8 months ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Where we really decided that we wanted to commit to it and do it. And the reason being was because we are no social media gurus. We are nothing special on there, but we definitely have a fun little community within our city here in Omaha, Nebraska. And I love to be active on my social media, Instagram more than anything. And I was always getting questions and always getting comments about our marriage and our relationship. So, to inform those who maybe haven't really known us that well and are just kind of listening out of coincidence, we have been married for 5 years this May.
5 long years. No, I'm kidding. It's
Hey now.
It's been kind of short. It went fast. Time actually flies.
Time
when you're
does
having
fly.
fun, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. We've been married for 5 years and we have been together for 7.
Yep, got together in 2014.
14, yeah.
It is now 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And a crazy 2021 at that. But yeah, we've just been vibing, having fun. Been separated for a good while. I'm in the military, for those who don't know. So I've been in the military 5 years, been away for about 2.5, 2 years, 6 months. So a lot of our perspective comes from that as well, and how we dealt with things like that, separation, and just adjusting with all everyday problems and things like that.
And getting married young. We got married young. And I think that's
she was 17.
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece of it because a lot of people will, scuffle, is that the word? Scuffle, laugh, whatever. A lot of people will roll their eyes, laugh, have their opinions.
Yeah.
But we got married young. I was 17, almost 18. I was literally
19.
I was 30 days shy of being 18. And so that's a huge part in it as well. So getting married young and already, lasting and building a healthy relationship as long as we have, I get a lot on my social media personally. And then I know, in person we get a lot. And then
For sure.
Jordan, for sure, I've seen him just have a lot of questions from his perspective as a man as well, getting married and being a husband. So we always have questions coming in from our friends, our family, our followers. And I think what bothered me the most, and what I was telling Jordan, why a huge part of me wanted to start this podcast, was because everyone thinks it's so perfect. And we always got those comments of, you guys are so perfect. And, a lot of people thought we weren't never having any problems, or, we never had our ups and downs. And
For sure.
it's not that we ever portrayed the perfect relationship. Of course, everyone has their private moments. But the ugly parts of marriage aren't for the public. So that's just.
And we're honestly very private people to start with. So
yeah,
a lot of our life isn't on social media. Like, we put a little portion of social media what we want to show, because that's what social media is for, showing what you want to show.
Yeah.
So we could be fighting right now and nobody would ever know, because that's just not our style. That's not how we do.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, I believe in working your problems out together privately. You don't want to have a bunch of opinions or
For sure.
other people. There's 2 people in a marriage, so you definitely want to work it out together and work through it together. But
one of my greatest little pieces of advice that I got early on in our marriage, it was when I was in Korea. I think a guy that I was stationed with was arguing with his girl or something, and I was like telling him what to say and stuff like that, and another guy came in and was like, no, don't listen to him. He was telling him not to listen to me. He was like, don't listen to him. Only you know your wife. He was like, he could be telling you to say something that would completely piss your wife off. Like, you don't, only you know your wife. Like, I know how to handle Alicia when we fight. So I'm not going to make a Facebook status talking stuff about what we're going through, because I don't need other people's input on our situation, because I know how to handle our situations a lot of the time. And if I don't, I have close friends for that. So like, I don't need to go out.
People that want you to work through it. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Making sure
Genuine people that want you to work through it and don't want to see you secretly fail behind them.
Yes. You have to be careful with that. You have to be aware. We are blessed to have a few close people in our circle that do know when we're going through hard times.
For sure.
And they are there to encourage us and, you know, tell us what we could do better at and how to, you know, at the end of the day, the love wins. So that is important. But although you want to deal with your, you know, issues in private, I do think it's important to talk about these subjects publicly on this podcast. Is
for sure
obviously what I wanted to do, like we wanted to do, but I really wanted to because of the DMs and stuff I would get. Although you deal with your stuff privately, it's important, I feel, to have almost a community.
Yeah.
To say, you know, like, hey, we go through those things too.
Yeah.
And
a community with like dialogue about it.
Dialogue.
So,
yeah. I was talking to Jordan about it specifically a few months ago when we were kind of just, how should we describe this? And one of the biggest things for me was, you know, when you major in a degree or you go to school for something or you're learning a new job, like, what do, right? You mentor people, you study, you read about it, you have dialogue about it, you make mistakes with it and you learn from it. Just so many different things. You know, you have to start as a rookie to become an expert.
For sure.
And although I don't think any of us are technically experts at marriage or a relationship, the point is, you know, it's a learning experience and it's a process, and you know, the years season you. They season you as a couple.
And also, to roll off what you just said, nobody being an expert, just a disclaimer, this is just us telling our stories, what we've been through. It's not telling you guys how to handle situations or anything like that. It's just us from our perspectives. We have not necessarily a rare perspective, but definitely a different perspective. Yeah. Because we've been together so long, because I'm in the military, we spent a lot of years apart, things like that. So just letting you guys know, like, this is just our opinion and our perspective and stories on certain subjects. Your story will be completely different.
Yes, it will be. And it will be respected, because that's what we want to create. Is we want to create a community where we can all, you know, you guys can comment and discuss things with us, and we can hear different perspectives as well and talk about those ugly, uncomfortable subjects to help each other get through it and to see things from a different perspective. I mean, you have to have different perspectives around you. You can't stick with one view your whole life on something, or surround yourself with people who view things the exact same way you do. We don't believe in that.
No. And that maybe that's another podcast, because I could talk about that forever. Yeah. Because you always, there's a very damaging culture right now that's going around saying like, oh, I'm the same young that I've been since forever. Like, it's an extremely dangerous culture or
people will judge you for changing.
Yeah. And it's like,
I feel like you'll have a lot to talk about that.
For sure. Yeah. We're supposed to change. We're not supposed to stay the same our entire lives. Like, we age for a reason. For a reason. Like I said, the years season you. We've definitely been seasoned. We've been through a lot in our marriage and in our relationship. And I think the reason that we have the confidence and comfortability to talk about this is because we are so secure within our marriage and within ourselves. And we want to either relate to other couples so that they know that they're not alone, or we want to help other couples, because the bottom line is, whether it's a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, parents and their kids, you know, everyone holds a relationship with someone. For sure. So hopefully this podcast can help people really see different perspectives, or maybe help guide and, you know, just help you through it if you are going through a hard time, or if you do have things, you know, you want us to talk about. I can't wait to hear what people want us to talk about. Yeah, I can't either. That's going to be pretty interesting. We've already gotten some, for sure. Our friends tell us all the time, like,
talk about this, this, and this. Our friends can't wait to be guests on here. Like, they can't wait to talk about their marriage.
I think every single one of them has said that I can't wait to be a guest on The Ugly.
Yeah, and it's because, people don't talk about those things publicly.
And we've experienced that a lot with, like, our friends, like, because me and Alicia, like, with our close friends, like, if we are going through something, like, we'll talk
for sure,
talk to them about it, or talk with them, like, at a round table, and then that's when they'll start opening up about, like,
they'll be like,
similar situations that they've been through,
or she does that shit too. It irritates the hell out of me. Like, there's
exactly.
always the relatableness of it brings happiness, laughter, and
and healing. Yeah, because a lot of the time those wounds are left open because it could be a sensitive subject, or the last time y'all talked about it, y'all left arguing and screaming, so y'all don't really want to talk about it. But when you talk about it in a group setting, things are
it's more easily hard on
like
your shoulders.
Processed. Yeah.
It's like easier to
consume almost.
And be almost lighthearted about, instead of so angry or upset about it. You kind of see other people like, oh, they went through it too, and then you kind of like, in our perspective, we've just laughed at it and been like, all right, how do we work through this shit, because it's not easy.
It's not always fun.
And so I think that this specific pilot episode, that's what we wanted to talk about, is why we're starting it, who we are, and where we hope to go with this podcast. So I think we could dive definitely a little bit about, excuse me.
Excuse me.
We could definitely dive in, now that we've kind of talked about why we are starting this podcast and what kind of sparked it. Who are we? Who are we, Jordan Prince?
Well, you just told my part. My name is Jordan Prince, married to Alicia Prince. That is my wife. That is my queen. That's the first lady of the Prince Empire. We're just, like I said earlier, we're just a young couple. We got together extremely young, 17.
I was 16.
When we got together, she was 16, I was 18. We got married 17, 19. And we've just been every day trying to figure this out, improving by 1% every day, just trying to be the best husband I can be. She's trying to be the best wife she can be. And we're just working. It's just daily work.
For sure. For those who are, I'm hoping, obviously, that we gain listeners that aren't from where we're from and may not know us as well. So if we do, we're from Omaha, Nebraska. Jordan and I are both from Omaha, Nebraska, both born and raised. Our families are here as well. And like he said, we got together at 16 and 18, got married at 17, almost 18, 19, almost 20.
Yeah, I would have been 20 later that month.
We had we were shy of like 30 days. And then, Jordan went into the military in the Air Force. He's still currently active duty in the Air Force.
Until November.
This is the last year. And I want to talk about that too, for sure. Specifically military couples. I hope we can help a lot of military couples just kind of like see we all have very similar experiences, but we moved to Florida. Jordan's actually you've been to a few different bases. So we've spent a lot of time apart. When we got married, fun fact, our first year of marriage, we spent apart.
Yep, I was in Korea.
We got married, and Jordan, within a week, moved to South Korea.
For a year,
Yep, for a year. And I stayed in Omaha, Nebraska, and went to college and worked, and that was a rough one. So that was a tough year.
That was a rough one. I
would say that was our hardest year.
It was definitely our hardest year, for sure. Just the distance.
The distance was
I
hard.
didn't know how to deal with the distance. I don't know if you knew how to deal with the distance. And yeah, that was for sure a rough year.
Yeah, so that was our first year of marriage. Fun fact is we spent our first year of marriage apart. He was in Korea. I was in Omaha, Nebraska. After that year, we moved to Panama City Beach, Florida. Jordan got orders to Tyndall Air Force Base, and that was awesome. That was awesome.
I enjoyed Tyndall a lot. I enjoyed the shop. I enjoyed the beach and the ocean and all that, but the sun.
Yeah, we're opposites.
I'm like, I'm taking an umbrella to the beach every day.
He likes to like be in the shade, whereas like I love to be outside in the sun. I love to be like warm. It's funny because I remember growing up, I grew up with a single dad and being with my dad all the time. I would just always complain about the winters, like, oh, I hate the winters. And it's funny because I look back on this, my dad telling me and laughing at me. He's like, you got to move. You're going to have to move to Florida when you get older,
Hmm.
California. He knew how much I loved the beach. So he would always tell me stuff like that. And I ended up in Florida for what, like 2.5 years?
Yeah.
2 years? 2
No, it
years.
was less than 2 years. It was about 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It felt longer.
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
did.
We did a lot in that
Because I
short,
think
short
I
amount
got
of
there
time.
in 16, like June 16. Oh, maybe it was 2 years.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 years.
Yeah, maybe
but
it was like 27 months.
We'll figure it out. We'll narrow it down.
For sure.
But yeah, I loved Florida. The beach was so awesome. I loved to, be on the beach, tan, swim, play volleyball, and Jordan's ass would be in an umbrella
Underneath my giant beach umbrella that I
yeah,
had to screw into the
with
sand.
our dog.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of fun experiences. Oh no, if you hear Luna,
Yeah, that's our little guest. She's upstairs barking at probably a squirrel or the mailman.
Yeah.
One of the
we
two.
told her we were recording today, but she's on her own time. So we
Yeah.
apologize if you hear a little barking in the background.
Completely inconsiderate.
But yeah, so we moved to Florida. We lived there. We bought our first house in Florida.
Yep.
And then you want to tell our fun story of how we ended up back home?
Oh yeah, Hurricane Michael. Thank you. We got Hurricane Michael came through and destroyed the base. I don't mean to say thank you because a lot of people got hurt in that
for sure.
hurricane. But
we like to. You'll learn that we like to try and kind of find the humor in hard times.
yeah, for sure.
We don't mean any
definitely laugh
disrespect.
about our
Yeah.
hard times. But as I was saying, Hurricane Michael came along. It was categorized as a tropical storm at first, and then it turned into like the third strongest hurricane in like US history, and it destroyed the base, it destroyed homes, our house got pretty messed up. And then we ended up, basically the military said wherever you guys want to go, you can go. So I talked to Alicia, she wanted to come back home. I was like, cool, let's go back home. And then if I couldn't go home, I wanted to go to Colorado so we'd still be relatively close to home. But we ended up getting home. They called me back in like 2 minutes and was like, all right, you're going off at Air Force Base. And I was like, sounds good to me.
I kind of missed a little bit of that. I wanted to let Luna outside because she was making a lot of noise. But what all did you tell him?
Just about how the hurricane came.
Yeah.
They gave out free assignments, basically.
Basically
we
how
wanted
we
to
got
go
back to
home.
Omaha, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a cool surprise because I don't mean to like talk about manifestation like that, but there was a point where I was like, I'm kind of ready for something new. It was probably like a month before the hurricane
Yeah.
hit. It was a month before the hurricane hit, and I was like, I'm ready for something new. Like maybe we should put in orders for somewhere else.
Hmm.
And I think I even mentioned home.
Yep.
I was like, I'd love to. I knew I love Omaha, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, girl, what? Like Omaha this, Omaha that. We hear it all the time, but Omaha has so much to offer.
It really
and
does.
it's
There's
an
a lot of
awesome city.
opportunity here.
Mhm.
There's a lot of opportunity
Yeah,
here.
so I've always loved Omaha, and regardless of the snow. So it was cool. It was kind of crazy, like the
Mhm.
fact that I had been talking about it, and we had been talking about it, and like he said, we talked about putting in orders. Colorado, Texas, there's a few different places, and then the hurricane had hit, and it was hard leaving the way that we did.
For sure.
That was hard and extremely emotional, but
Because when we left, when we came home, I think when we came home the first time, power was out.
it was hard.
Yeah, our house was
No
soaking
water.
wet. Windows were broken on our house.
You couldn't go anywhere because there was looters everywhere,
Yeah, there was
police
no
everywhere.
curfew. There was a
like
curfew.
it was like almost the purge in the sense of like all the chaos outside.
Yeah, you don't realize how important streetlights are until there are none. Like
Yeah.
we looked, like it was super weird. Like looking outside and there's just no streetlights,
And
and
then
you
you're-
just see cop cars,
Yeah, you're constantly hearing cop cars.
sirens.
We experienced a shooting
Yeah,
in our neighborhood. Like there was just so much
it was a lot of
chaos.
after
Yeah.
after a hurricane.
And it
for
was
sure.
it was so hard to process because that's such an ugly part of life.
Mhm.
It was really ugly and sad to see that the way that some people chose to behave. And
Yeah, after
yeah,
hurricane, for
and
sure.
that's the world for sure. But that
Mhm.
was just hard to process. Like that was definitely the hardest way to leave. I never had expected to leave that kind of way.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's how we ended up back in Omaha. And what are we doing now?
Well, now my wife's a realtor, big boss bread maker.
Stop.
Yeah, she's a full-time realtor. I'm still in the military. We're working on various companies
Yeah.
outside of the military and
Mhm.
outside of her real estate. So we're doing our little entrepreneurial. Whoa. Oh Lord, I can't say that word today, so I'm not gonna try again. But yeah, we're doing our little entrepreneur thing, and
We have big dreams.
yeah, we're getting it. We're just
Mhm.
chasing them
Yeah.
for sure.
When we moved back to Omaha, Jordan obviously is still in the military, so
Mhm.
he had to kind of get to work right away.
Yep.
Within being home for a few months, we got the news that he was getting deployed again.
Yeah, I was literally here for like
Mhm.
I got to off it 2 months later. They told me I was deploying.
Yeah, that was sucky, but that is the reality. That was our reality. We had
Yeah.
committed to the military and
For
that
sure.
lifestyle. So
And the hurricane had actually stopped me from deploying. I was going to deploy from Tindon.
yeah, that was a crazy story.
And then
We'll have to talk
2
about
weeks
that
later,
one
the
day.
hurricane came.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about that one day because that was.
Then I get to off it flooded
yeah.
for the first time. It was like
we
a
had the
historical
worst
flood.
winter. Yeah, the worst winter ever
Yeah.
with terrible flooding. Again, affected many lives
Yep.
and many homes. So
I
that
went
was
from
terrible.
working 18-hour shifts after the hurricane, and I thought I was getting away from it, going to off it.
Mm-hmm.
They hit me with them again. So
Yeah.
that's just the way.
And then
Things
I
work out
was
sometimes.
jobless.
You were jobless for a year
Yep,
after.
in Florida, I was going to school. I was going to college for nursing, which I knew I did not want to do. Knew it. I can't wait to talk about this story one day. And then I was serving. I was serving at Longhorn Steakhouse
Yep.
on the beach, which I loved that. I loved serving. I always tell Jordan if I could just do it part-time for fun, I definitely would. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time, but serving was awesome. That's what led me into my real estate journey for sure, a
Mhm.
part of it at least. So when we moved back to Omaha, I was not making any money. I was considering I was going to serve here
Mhm.
full time until I could figure it out, maybe switch schools or whatever. And then I ended up having a conversation with my father and Jordan one night. My father's a realtor as well. He's been in the business for like 11 years now. And it's kind of crazy how fast it happened, but we just had a conversation, us three, one night. And my dad had just been like, you should think about it. Like, I think you would do great.
Mhm.
Think about coming into real estate with me, because I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of in between. And Jordan was a huge support, like encouraging, supportive
For sure.
part in that. And so when I had thought about it that night, I was like, what do you think? Like, do you think I should try it? And he was like, for sure. Like,
Mhm.
you'll do amazing. You'll kill it. Like, I know this is for you. And it felt organic and it felt right. Like, I don't
For
know.
sure.
Like, it just
It
felt.
wasn't forced at all.
Mhm.
It was just something that happened.
Yeah, it just felt natural. So I got excited and I literally signed up for classes the next day.
Yep.
Had signed up for classes, and I remember my dad asking me, like, did you give it any more thought? Like, what do you think? And I was like, oh, Dad, I signed up for classes already. Like, I start
Yeah.
next month. And he was super excited. So that was also really cool. I definitely can't wait to talk about, even parents and working with your parents and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I was licensed within 6 months. The licensing process was not easy for me. I failed the test about like 6 times.
Yeah.
And I've been really transparent about that on like my Instagram. So if you guys want, make sure you guys go follow us, because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we do talk about on our social media.
For sure.
But
And my @name is @JordanPrinceTV on Instagram.
yeah, mine's @Alicia Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go follow us. That'll be fun to see the behind the scenes about our daily life. And then once I got licensed, I got started. And so that process, to sum it up, that whole process took me about a year until I started bringing in any income. So
Yep.
I wasn't making any money that whole year. And then once I got settled and kind of in my roots with the real estate world, I finally started, getting my momentum, and it's been great ever since. It's definitely my passion.
Doing
and
your thug thizzle.
yeah, it's been fun. So now I'm a realtor in Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm licensed in Iowa as well. And Jordan is in the military. This is his last year. He's in E5.
E5,
Sorry,
staff
that's
sergeant.
probably really bad. I should know that. But E5 staff sergeant. He just got promoted this past 2020.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how publicly you want to talk about your
what?
Your like other ventures.
My other ventures?
Yeah.
Oh,
business.
yes. I'm also I started a company probably a couple months ago named Alter Marketing and Consulting. We're a digital marketing company, and we're working with Alicia's marketing, getting her some more clientele, and that's going to be my main gig when I get out. And I also started the Mogul Mindset, which is my personal YouTube channel where I talk about just self-development, business. I talk about mindset a lot and that's the shirt I'm wearing. It says mind right, money right on the red circle, and then on the back it says mindset before mansions, because I believe that 100%. You got to have your mind right before you actually have anything. Actually, me and Alicia were just talking about that, how much we've actually manifested everything that has happened to us.
It's
and
crazy.
Not obviously there's life things you got to deal with, hurricanes, floods, deployments, things like that, but literally everything we've ever said that we want to accomplish, we've been accomplishing, and we've been knocking them down. And it's just been a crazy journey because we work hard. Like I'm up at 4 a.m. every day, reading, studying, trying to get everything, trying to consume myself in my craft. And Alicia is doing the same. She's up at night trying to consume herself in her craft. So we're just we know where we want to go, and we are taking steps to get there.
And it takes time.
It takes time.
Like we said, we've been together for 7 years, and I can't wait to talk about this because I was just telling a girlfriend this the other night. I think our deepest connection is our drive.
For sure.
When I met Jordan, I was 16. Okay, who normally at 16, has this crazy drive to just like work. Like that was just like how I was. Like I just loved to work. And I know that there's a lot out there, but at 16 there's a lot of distractions and a lot of other priorities that people have. So at 16 I remember, just talking to him about it, and it matched. Like it clicked. Like he was like,
I used to have like little slogans like rich by 26, thrive by 25. And that's still the goal. And I think the way things are looking now, we're definitely going to accomplish the rich by 26. What?
Have we said how old we are now?
I don't think so.
Now I'm 22.
And I'm 24.
24. So we're 22 and 24.
Yep. So we have 2 years to get rich. And we have 1 year to thrive. Actually, I turned 25 this year. So I think we'll be thriving for sure.
I think we're for sure there.
Some would consider us thriving now.
A lot, yeah.
I don't necessarily consider us thriving compared to our goals, but
yeah, compared to our goals, obviously it's always good to have that accountability of you can do more. But there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance. That's what I try to remind my husband when he gets to be too hard on himself. And
for sure.
He has thrived by 25 for sure. He has beat odds that a lot of people have not beat. I can't wait for him to talk about that one day. It may be a year before that for certain reasons, and we'll tell you guys why, but just in another episode. But my husband has definitely beat odds and has a story to tell and things to talk about.
For sure.
So he is doing amazing. We are doing awesome, and we actually don't show our accomplishments like on social media.
No.
Because we do feel like, we're always working towards something.
And that's just not necessarily our aim. Mostly because people will see us and they'll see, oh, well, they just been doing this for this long, but they don't realize like one of my favorite books is The Compound Effect, and like literally everything that's happening to us is the compound effect. Like we've been doing this for years.
We both read that book years ago.
Years, and just seeing no results from any of it. We've
seen small results.
Yeah, and so I don't want to say no results. We just didn't see instant results.
For sure, yeah.
It was just the longevity of the repeated task, doing the same thing every day. I've been waking up for 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock for like what 5? No, it's been longer than that. It's probably been since we've been together.
Yeah, so like
7 years.
He shifted what he was doing.
What I was
at that
doing for
time.
sure, because
Yeah.
like I think like the first 2 years of our marriage, I was probably waking up and playing video games.
Yeah.
Like I was probably waking up, getting on the game,
He would be playing video games,
smacking people in Call of Duty and
Yeah.
stuff.
And for sure want to talk about that too, because like when your mindset really shifted, like you've always had a good mindset,
Yeah,
but it really shifted a few years later.
Yeah,
So
it
I
was-
do want to talk about
shoot,
that.
it was just like a couple. It was while we were in Florida.
It was
when
while
my
we were in Florida.
My mindset really shifted.
Yeah, it was it'll be a fun story to talk about for sure. But I think that that's going to be our biggest thing when talking about this talking on this podcast, and what we always talk about on our social media is instant gratification. You know, we're 22 and 24, so we're in that generation of where's the reward? You know, I need
Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
1 day delivery,
or even like
same day delivery now.
Yeah,
Package hits you in the back of the head when you order it. Like,
and looking like you have it all.
yeah,
Like looking like you have like these, I don't know, like designer clothes or going on
Yeah.
all these vacations
not
or like
interested. I'm
yeah,
not
doing all
interested.
these things. It's like that's never been us.
Nope. I literally, my closet is full of $6 shirts from Target.
Yeah, and I'm such a budgeter. Like I love Target,
Yeah.
H&M, but that is what we like to talk about because you know, the instant gratification aspect of that is a lot of people in our generation, specifically in our age group, you know, think that they need to look like they have it all.
For
And
sure.
that's not us. You'll learn that about us. You know, our friends know this about us. Our family knows this about us. We do not care. You know, do I think presentation and
Yeah,
quality
for sure.
matters? 110%. But am I going to be killing myself spending money on a designer bag that I just don't care about and to look like I have it all?
Yeah, it just means nothing.
It means nothing.
It means
Yeah.
nothing. Like
And
that,
we need to get away from that. We need
yeah,
to get
that
away
designer
from that.
bag isn't going to be worth a lot of the times. Some of them are. Some of them
Yeah,
are.
there are.
In extremely rare
Yeah.
cases, though. Like, but that bag is going to sit in your closet.
But
and
we're
just
talking about
not
just
be worth
how this
anything.
generation
Yeah, for
is.
sure.
Yeah. And I think that what we want to show
Babe,
you.
you can't say this generation. That's our generation.
Yes, correct. That I think I put us in the category like
Yeah, you did,
3
but-
times. But that's what I'm talking about is we want to be like, no, you know, we're gonna live below our means, way below our means.
Super below our
We're gonna
means.
work really, really hard, and we're going to learn like education and
Yeah.
how to build real wealth. Like
Yep.
that's our goal.
And that we'll also talk a lot about like wealth building and business with
Yeah.
your spouse, and
yeah,
we'll be talking
yeah.
about a lot of that on
I've
the podcast. Because,
I've gotten that question for sure.
Yeah, and like this is the reason why I don't have any hair right now because like we name all of our years, and this year was against the grain, and as a tribute to that, I went against the grain with clippers on my head. Actually, at least it cut my hair, but that's what we are. Like that's like a true like that's
Yeah.
in our hearts. Like we truly believe in like cry now, laugh later. Like
Yeah.
whereas the world says laugh now, cry later.
For
like
sure. A lot of people, I get this question so many times. I don't think we've said this yet, but we live with my dad right now.
for sure,
we
we're in
live-
his basement.
We live in my dad's basement. We pay him rent. We pay normal bills like normal adults. But we're just trying our absolute hardest to be intentional
For
about
sure.
living below our means. And we get this question all the time is why are you living with your dad?
Yeah.
Why don't you buy a house? Why don't you have your own place? And
Yeah,
a lot of
which
people
we could do all of that.
for
But
sure, yeah. And I think a lot of people may even maybe have their chin ups to it, you know.
yeah, it's fine.
and that
We're
is
gonna
okay.
make $1 million from this basement.
For sure, but I definitely want to like kind of put it out there as why we're doing what we're doing, you know, so maybe other people can learn from it and take advantage of their opportunities as well, because this is an awesome opportunity my dad has given us, and we'll talk more about that as well of how our plan ended up being this way, but we're taking full advantage of the opportunity
sure.
that we have to live below our means. So again, going against that instant gratification of, well, we can buy a house, so why not go buy a house? Well, we already have one house. It's currently a rental property.
Mhm.
And our goals are just a little bit bigger than that. So I definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And all the questions that we get from people. We get questions about how do we work together? You know, how do we budget our finances?
Yep.
How do we work through our hard times and communicating? And what problems have we had? I've had a lot of people ask me that. Like, what problems do you guys have? We have problems.
Everything under the sun.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But
Like, we've
yeah,
had our
a lot.
problems. We've been together 7 years. Like,
Yeah,
7 years is a long time. So there's stuff to talk about. And this was just kind of like the pilot episode to kind of get
for
started,
sure.
tell you guys again who we are, what we're doing, and the goal for this podcast. So here is to the start of the ugly.
We
Do
don't have
you-
anything to toast or anything, but I wish we did.
Yeah, we should have definitely popped some. I think there's some upstairs.
Some
but
water?
we should have
Pop
popped
some
some champagne. Oh yeah, we can't.
Yeah, we can't drink right now. We're on
We're on a
75
program where
hard.
we can't drink for 75 days. So we'll just fist bump, babe. There we
Mm.
go. We got it. So here's to the ugly. And did you want to say anything else?
No, I didn't.
Okay. We're just gonna wrap it up for you guys. We look forward to the next episode, which we've been talking about this subject. This is Jordan's idea. The next episode, do you want to talk about what the next episode is gonna be?
No, it's going to be a surprise.
It's gonna be a
And,
surprise?
Yeah, we'll probably leak it about a week or a couple days before.
We'll leak it on our social media.
Yeah,
so
we'll
for
leak it
sure
on
go
our social
follow if
media,
you're
for
not.
sure.
So we're going to leak the title and the subject of the next episode. And we will be releasing weekly videos.
Yeah, we're going to try weekly. Like we said, we're super busy, but we're trying to dedicate Saturdays to recording podcasts and all of our other content. So
For sure. So I can't wait to get this started. I'm super excited.
yeah, it's going to be fun.
So if you guys enjoyed this even little pilot, for sure,
Click that subscribe button
click the subscribe button, share with a friend,
for sure.
and let us know what subjects you want us to talk about.
Yeah, comment below.
Yeah, for sure. Because we want to hear what our listeners want to talk about. That's the whole goal of this, is to talk about those subjects. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Mr. Prince, for your time.
Yeah, thank you, wifey.
All right.